Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's XAUUSD Securities webinar. My name is Duncan Cooper. Tonight's webinar is live Forex market review. Before we get into it, if you could all read through the disclaimer. And my PowerPoint's not working properly here, but we'll just have to make do with it. It should be full screen, but my taskbar's in the way. So please read through the disclaimer. For those on our YouTube live stream, I cannot see your chat, but you're more than welcome to join us in the webinar. I've given you the link there. For everybody else in the webinar, if you have a question, then just drop them into the chat box, the Q&A box. I've got both open. I'll see them coming in. So I'll just give you a bit of time to read through the disclaimer. All right, time to time I have technical issues with the Zoom. All right, so we've got the charts on. So I'm not going to go back and talk about the dollar index and the S&P 500, but let's keep moving forward. What I will do is to start on the euro dollar once more. So let's just go back to the day chart. And I've been monitoring this range. This is the high of the month down to the low of this month. And I did say on Tuesday, watch for this area here to maybe get filled. And we're coming up and we've hit this resistance level there at 108.76. So what I was just highlighting when my screen wasn't showing properly was on the weekly charts. Trend is actually down on the weekly chart. We've broken below this weekly support low, shifting the trend to down. And we're having a 1 week rally. How high can we come up? Now, we had a big drop on the job figure day. This was that day there, and we're coming back up to fill any imbalance that was formed that day. We're back up to day resistance at 108.76 after the data that's been coming out. And we're back up to the 79% level of this range that we've been forming this month. So with the overall weekly trend down, the question is, are we back up to an area to sell at here? So personally, I'll be watching in this area to see how the market further reacts to the 108.76 resistance level, to the 15-minute chart. At the moment, you can see we put in the big railroad tracks down the 15-minute chart. So through the course of the day and into tomorrow, I'll be waiting to see if this can come back up for a retest. And does it retest and fail? If it does, I'll be looking for a setup to sell on a lower time frame. Now, yesterday trend is up and the 4-hour trend is up. So if you're on the other side of the market, the 4-hour chart, then this bottom to top, there's your 4-hour uptrend in line with the day chart uptrend. It's been moving up. Is you want to look for a pullback. And I would look to see what price does on a pullback to the 62.79% area. So this area in here, and there's 4-hour support there at 108.19. So that would be the zone that I would look for from on the buy side at the moment. If you've much more to the buy side, I'm much more to the sell side. So I would look for a retest up here for a possible failure. All right, so those are the levels that I'll be looking at on the euro dollar. Euro yen, when I was discussing on Tuesday, we were here. Well, that was Monday. This was Tuesday. We're actually in here when I was discussing it, and I was asking the question, are we going to hold there? Obviously, we're not. We're moving much higher at the moment. Difficult to be a trader at the moment to the long side because you're buying at the top of the move. And this move now has been the best part of, I don't know, 2 weeks. I was asking the question, were we going to hold here, but now we're not. We've actually moved above a monthly level of resistance too at 162.42. That level, if you want to know what it is, if you go to the monthly chart, it's this high point over here, this very historical high point. So we're at very historical high areas at the moment on the euro yen. Usually in these areas, we get a reversal. But of course, at the moment, we're still moving up. So I'm very conscious of that we're at very high levels. Weekly trend is just up here. And so that's the monthly level we traded above, 162.42. We actually came down intraday today and that became support. and we're continuing up. Now, at very high levels, we're at very good levels. If you've been long for a while, if you've been in a bought position for a while, take profits up because we're coming up to resistance. But we're in uptrend at the moment. So really, unless you see a signal to sell, and I'm not seeing a signal to sell at the moment, you really want to wait for a pullback now on the 4-hour chart into a buy zone area. So draw a fib in. Keep moving the fib up if price keeps moving up. And I'd really look at the 62.79% zone. And I can see there that 62.42, it's the monthly high that we've broken above. At the moment, could be support on a pullback. So that would be the area that I would look to if price could pull back. All right. Now, I don't know what the day is going to bring. If we got a significant reversal candle today, and of course, at the moment on my daily chart here, we don't have one of those, but we've still got half of the day to go. Now, if we've got a significant reversal candle, then that might beg the question, are we in the sell zone because we're very high up within this range, this move down here? We're very high up from where we came from. So if we were to see a significant rejection candle up here, that might beg the question, are we going to top out up here? So two sides of the market. At the moment, we're going to have a clear uptrend, but, if we do see a clear rejection candle, then we may have to, ask that question. So at the moment, back to my 4-hour chart, I would look for a pullback tomorrow. I'd like the pullback to occur tomorrow so we don't get a rejection candle today. If we got a significant rejection candle today, so if the pullback happens today, that may mean we get a significant rejection candle. Then I don't know if I would like to be a buyer. So I would have to wait and see what price does. All right, euro pound. Now I've been saying on the weekly chart here, we moved to a lower bottom, we rallied back up to a lower top, back to a lower bottom. We are on support, so we're having some kind of support coming in here. I'm anticipating we may well move back up to this weekly area resistance, 86.49 to the 79% level at 86.68. Now, we're a long way away from there. So the weekly trend is down and the daily trend may hold its uptrend to move up, back up the range. We have formed an uptrend here and we've moved above this weekly low point here. So this could be an area of support for a pullback. Now, if we drop down the 4-hour chart, there's a significant area of support there. Drag it up to there. And the 79% level overlaps with that weekly area of support. So that's at 85.43. And your 79% level there at 85.44. So that would be a good area to watch for potential support for that to continually move that day trend back up the range. If the price was to close below this weekly level of support, then we have probably topped out here. So again, it's a question of monitoring at the moment to see what price wants to do when it gets to a key area of support. All right, now we do have, coming in late, we've got the UK at 7:30, the flash manufacturing and services PMI data coming out. We've had some mixed data from the Eurozone, good French, poor German. Let me just refresh this because 7 o'clock came in. The overall Eurozone data was a bit mixed, down on manufacturing, up on services. All right, we have the UK data coming out in about 11 minutes. All right, so to the daily chart of the pound dollar. Now, just turning into an uptrend on the daily. However, if we move to the weekly, I've got a fib drawn. It's very difficult to see here because this range has been quite tight, but we've been moving down to a lower bottom. So this is corrective on the weekly at the moment. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing a fib from the final top down to this lower bottom. And then on the day chart, I'm just monitoring this corrective move back up. At the moment, we've hit the 62% level. And this is the job figure day where we had a heavy sell-off. And we're coming back up to fill any imbalance within that candle like we've been doing it's seen on the Eurodollar. So how high can this come back up? Is it going to come back up into all these resistance zones? That line there may be a bit old now. I'm going to just use these ones up here at the top. This is the monthly high, so 2771. Really up to any one of these daily highs to the left here could be where the market wants to maybe come back up to, if it wants to, depending on data release, to potentially fail. And the 79% level of the weekly range is up in the area too. Let's just move to the 4-hour chart so we can get a closer look. So at the moment, we're at the 62% point. This is last week's high. So we could be failing at 62. I'd love it to come up to the very high level up here and feel this imbalance on the 4-hour chart. It's not quite filled at all yet. That's where it was. Like it was all that imbalance. So we've been filling quite a large amount of it, but we could come up to fill all of it if the market wanted to. So this would be a very good area up here from 126.11 up to 127.71 for the sellers to look at. If data, depending on what comes out, can drive it up there. We may find over the next 12 hours or so that maybe we are holding at the 62% level, and we may want to then false break last week's high. So this could be an area too where we could top out. All right, so from a sell perspective, where we've hit today could be a sell level, or there's a further area up here. And I will just start to now monitor the 15-minute chart. You can see there, we're starting to reverse at the 127 level. So I'd be interested to see what the UK data brings. I'd have to wait for the UK data to come out and then see over the next 12 hours what happens in this area. Do we start to want to hold here? Can you see a setup to maybe trade down? We've always had a very impulsive move up. If you think that we've actually put in a significant bottom down here and we're going to come up and take out all these highs to the left, that would mean that the weekly downtrend is going to change back to up. So we're going to have to see a significant change in trend for that to occur. But if you're much more to the upside, then on the 4-hour chart, you could monitor the next pullback, like I was showing in the Eurodollar, and look to the 62 to 79% zone. So 126.42 down at 126.24. And there's 4-hour support here at 126.37. So this zone here would be where you look on the buy side if your approach is much more to be trading to the upside and you're seeing a continued move up there. Now, we have been having obviously a correction on the US dollar this week, but from a data perspective, I haven't really been seeing anything that's leading to a significant shift. The FOMC meeting minutes yesterday didn't really give any negativity. It was really saying that the FOMC was much more on approach of not cutting interest rates too soon. So that really should be positive for the US dollar rather than us seeing this correction at the moment. So I haven't seen any data really coming out that would influence a major change in trend other than we are just having a bit of a weekly rally at the moment. All right, so I'm still monitoring the majority of these pairs in line with the weekly trend, which is down, and we're having a week up at the moment. And here on the pound, we're at the 62% level of, that's the weekly high. That's your weekly low. And really, forget my drawing tool out here. I'm just standing on the fence at the moment, but we've had a downtrend shift this way. That's to a lower weekly bottom. This is corrective. Are we holding here at the 62, or will we come to the 72 level and see what happens at all these highs? All right. Now, depending on what the data brings in, 6 minutes? 6 minutes, we could, get up to these highs up here, or we could start to fail here. We'll have to wait and see. If we start to fail significantly here, it'll just move probably too quickly if the data comes out poorly. But in a perfect world, I'd love to be looking at these highs up here. I previously sold up here and took some profit down here. So this is my preferred area up here, round about the 127.71 level, if we can get up there. All right. Let's get into the pound yen now. Pound yen's breaking out. So if we go to the monthly chart, we're actually breaking above 2 monthly areas of resistance at the moment. Okay, so there's no question where the trend is. Question would be for all traders at the moment is we are getting up to very historical high levels. Usually when you get up to historical high levels, we reverse down the other way. You see here when we're down at a historical low level here, see when price got close to it, bottomed out to move back up. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this area. So monthly trend is up, your weekly trend is up here. These two higher lines are my monthly levels of resistance, and you can see we've broken out over the last couple of days away from that area. We were sitting inside the area, so there was the question of are we going to hold to reverse, but the market's now telling us we're breaking higher. So till proven differently, I think you need to be dropping to the 4-hour chart, like I've been saying on the other pairs, and looking for your next pullback to occur. Don't, if you want to be a buyer on the pound yen with the trend, you don't want to be buying at the top of the move. You want to be looking for that pullback, and you're going to have to be patient for a pullback. Perfect area here. Support 189.70. 62 level at 189.79. Of course, if price keeps moving up, I'll keep dragging the fib up. So can it pull back to support? Hold. Then for the next move up. All right, so you're going to have to monitor price action. That would be my area to look for at the moment. Down at the 189.70 level, if we can pull back. All right, Aussie yen. All right, selling down from 99 at the moment. We go to the monthly chart. We're trying to, there's actually two highs in here, got two lines overlapping each other. And we've broken above 98.58, this monthly high here. This one here at 98.58 and at 98.43, those two monthly highs. Breaking above there today. Be interesting to see where we finish by the end of the day. I've been watching to see if we were going to hold here to reverse down. Again, like I was just discussing the pound yen, we're up getting into very historical high levels of the monthly chart. You can see how many times in this area, here we drop down, here we drop down, here we drop down. So we're coming back up into the same area. Often we will just reverse back the other way. This is considered, all these yen pairs at the moment, we're in what we would say expensive area. All right. Once you get into an expensive area, larger traders want to be taking short positions because they know it's the expensive area. So whilst we're seeing an uptrend, I'd be cautious at the moment. All right, so weekly chart, trend is up. We're trying to break above those two high points at the moment. Day trends. Now, last two trading days. So Tuesday, I thought maybe we are failing here. Wednesday, we came up to retest. Today, we're trading above. So are we going to be able to close above today? If we can, then I would be, if you're prepared to trade to the long side at such high levels, this is quite overextended at the moment, you want to look for a pullback to support. Because if you want to be a buyer, you need the market to hold at and above these highs here. So that's the prime area for the buyers at the moment. They should now defend this if we're moving much, much higher above this area and breaking out long term. All right, so like I've been saying on the other yen pairs, draw a fib across the most immediate upward range. Keep dragging it up if price keeps moving up, and then watch for a pullback. I can see the 62 level overlaps nicely with this area. The high of last year at 98.58. So if you're prepared to be a buyer at such high levels, then 98.58 is the area of support to watch for pullback. That's the optimum area to be a buyer. If today we were to sell off and we end up with a rejection candle and we close back below 98.58, that's a sell signal. Because if I get rid of this fib at the moment, the last 2 trading days, bar today, have not been able to move above. We rejected Tuesday. We almost touched it, but traded within the range of the rejection candle yesterday. And then we're above today. All right. So can we close above today? Can we have a solid positive candle above? If we show a rejection candle today and we close back below 98.58, we could well see a reversal back down from what is last year's high and the year before's high. All right, so just be aware at very high levels. Just want to have a look at this on the 15-minute chart. So at the moment, if you're prepared to get short, you may see a retest of 9,900. It's a very significant number. You can see the selling pressure coming in at that level. If you can get a tight short entry there, that may be a very good level to watch for a move back down. And a move back down to 98.58, and then what does the market do? You can see even today, early today, we moved above 98.58 and then went back below, and then we were sitting below. Then something came in the market here to drive it above. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can pull back to this, what should be now support zone, and hold as support. If you can't, I'm going to be dealing with a reversal, okay? All right, I just want to see what the pound's doing after the news coming out. All right, selling off. So what was the data release result? Guessing the data wasn't great. All right, so it was a little bit weaker. So we may be dealing with a top there on the pound. You need to monitor that for your setup maybe to sell now. It has hit the 62 level of the weekly range, up there at 127.09. You can see there, once we put this reversal on these 2 candles, these 3 candles here really were holding at 127 level, and we're starting to sell off. So any movement back up now to 127 potentially is a failure level for a movement back down on the sell side. Okay. As I was saying before, to my 4-hour chart, there's a 62 level of the weekly range, and you can see we're holding there, and we're false breaking last week's high. So are we actually topping? This could be the high of the week for a move back down. All right, so it's worth watching any kind of retest in this area for failure. Right, Aussie dollar to the daily. This is not too dissimilar. That is the job figure drop down candle, sell off candle at the start of the month. And we had this consolidation area through here. So price action has been consolidate. We broke down, and really we're coming back up within this range. Where are we at? 79% level. All right. So been getting some support from this low, these 2 highs over here, which is weak. This is all weekly supports, and we've been coming back up the range. But you can see all these wicky candles in here to the left. Let me just get rid of these lines. We're back into the area where all the sellers were taking control to move this down. So we're back into the sell zone at the moment. All right. Yes, we could come up to 6,600 to 6,621, but in my mind, the question I'm asking myself is that the move down? Is this a rally? Like so. All right, so for our chart, we're rejecting the 79% level. We've just filled this imbalance here on the 4-hour chart from the job figure drop early start of the month. So we're seeing this imbalance filled on a number of pairs today: Aussie dollar, Euro dollar. All right, some form of fill on the pound as well. So imbalance was there, it's been filled. is this a level to look for your short at the 79% level, 65.85? All right, so if we come back up to 79% level, start to monitor that level, 65.85 as a level of resistance for maybe a retest and failure. You know, we may come back down a bit deeper at the moment, but do we come up to this level and then start to come back down the range? That's what I'll be looking for there. This is selling off, so this is obviously going to help the Aussie dollar, sorry, the Aussie yen sell off from the 99 handle too. All right. Next one, New Zealand yen, been very strong, almost up to a very significant monthly level. It's broken out. It's been very consolidatory for a number of months. It's broken out above this monthly level, 92.40. And this is really a final top before we traded all the way down into 2020. So this was 2014 down to 2020. So the market's going to know that this high point's here. If you just spend all your life on a 50-minute chart, you wouldn't know it was there. But from significant high levels, we sell off. I've been saying that all day. So on a number of pairs to the yen, we're at significant high levels. So if I squash this in, and this is going back now to about 1990 over here. Resistance over here. So we're here and then we sold off. Over time, got above there just, sold all the way back down. Came back up, sold down. So we're back up into the historical sell area on the New Zealand yen historically. Hopefully you can see there that when we're at these high levels, the market tends to have a major shift the other way. Now, we're never going to know if that's going to come until it comes. You know, it's going to take a lot of months to prove it because that was a 6-year decline down here. But if we start to see a reversal up here over maybe the next month, something shifts, then you maybe need to start to think about, okay, are we at significant high points for a reversal? All right, so all the trends on the month is up, the weekly's up. Okay, we're quite overextended at the moment on the weekly. If we drew a fib in, we're above the 162 level. So we're at extreme price points in terms of weekly upward move, right? So this really isn't where you want to be a buyer. It's where you want to be taking your profits. All right. Day chart, you know, since the last 2-day reversal, we're 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 days up. So do you want to be a buyer on the 7th day up? I don't. Not seeing a reason to sell, but you know, this is where you want to take profits and you want to see a pullback. Now, I just want to go back to my monthly chart. We've just broken above this level. So have we broken above 92.40 to come up to test 94.04? So if you're still prepared to be a buyer in this area, you want to see this area become support on a pullback, 92.40, to move up to test this high. So again, on the 4-hour chart, in fact, 92.40, because I mentioned that on Tuesday, it's actually become support there on Tuesday and traded up to a higher top on the 4-hour and a pullback to a further move up. So probably can't trade back down to that level. If you trade it back down to that level, it may well break. If you want to be a buyer, you want to wait for a pullback on the 4-hour range. That's the current range. Look for a pullback to the 62.79% zone. Do you see a setup intraday for a move higher? Okay. Can't emphasize enough on all these pairs that have moved very strongly up at the moment. You want to wait for the next pullback, which obviously means that you have to be patient, but I never just jump in and buy at the high, especially say here on the New Zealand yen when we're 7 days up. You have to wait for a pullback. I'd be more inclined at the moment. I know everything's in an uptrend, but I don't like to be buying at such high levels. I'd be much more inclined to, you know, on my daily chart, know where the major level of resistance is. It's up there at 94.04. That's only 80 pips away. We could most definitely be there tomorrow. is just be patient and, into the new week, next week, what happens up here at 94.04 if we get there? All right, we might not get there, but what happens if we get there? Do we start to hold? Do we start to reverse? All right, that's what I'll be watching for there in the New Zealand yen. But you could monitor the 4-hour chart if you're prepared to be a buyer at such high levels. All right. And monitor the 4-hour pullback here to the 62.79% area. New Zealand dollar, it's looking a bit similar to the Aussie. Now, I didn't go to the monthly chart on the Aussie, but the Aussie looks very similar to here to the New Zealand dollar. We are in a downtrend on the monthly chart. Lower top, lower bottom, up to a lower top, and we just come down into an area of support, and that's on the weekly chart. So if I do the same thing on the weekly chart, that's the move down on the monthly, that's the rally. Then we've come down. I'm expecting long-term and moving this way, like so, in line with the monthly trend. So what I'm expecting at the moment is that this now is going to come up and go like so, and continue down this way. So to the daily, day trend's up at the moment. It's reclaiming, this is a sell-off down. It's reclaiming some of that move down. So you want to be monitoring that range to see where a logical point would be for this upward corrective move at the moment to finish at. Now, clear area would be this area of resistance, 62.73. You can see you move below was resistance here through here. All right, so it was resistance through this area. Overlaps with the 79% level of the major range from high to low. And of this range, high to low, we have a 79% level a bit further above. So at the moment, I'm just being patient. I would look for a weekly lower top to form. Up in this area, if we can get up there. All right, so looking for a weekly lower top to form, can we get up to there? So that's 62.73 up to 62.98. So it's about 90 pips away at the moment. Okay, so I'm just monitoring to see what price will do up here if we can get up there. All right. Previous to this corrective move up this week, this has been very, very consolidatory. It's actually been not that nice to trade. So this is a very strong sell zone up here. I'd much prefer to look at an area where we've had a significant sell down from, and that's up there. And I'm expecting that on the weekly chart. Now the trend on the weekly, I'm looking for that to be a final top. This to be corrective, and this to come this way. So I'm going to be watching up here for a reversal. All right, so none of these pairs at the moment, just a patience game. All right, dollar Canadian, price action on the dollar Canadian. All right. That's the job figure move up. This is the day chart. Then we pull back. You actually put a lower top in here at the moment. But really, all this price action that we've been seeing here for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days is just coming back down to fill this impulsive candle. It's back down, drawing a fib from low to high. We're back down to the 79% level. Look at the 4-hour chart. I had this area drawn in on Tuesday. There's the impulsive move up. We've just come down to fill this whole impulsive move. Potentially a very strong area of support. So I would monitor, we're right at that level right now, the 79% level, 134.49, to be potential support. to move back up. All right. You could monitor that on the 15-minute chart. And I've already done the range for the day, so we're overextended. Do you see your reversal setup here to trade back up? So just forming a little swing point here. If you know my swing point entry is a break of a swing point high. So let me get my other drawing in. If we break a swing point high at the moment, that's going to change the 15-minute trend to up. So can the 15-minute trend turn to up at the 79% level for a move back up the range? All right, you can monitor that. Dollar franc. This is the area that I had drawn in on Tuesday, and it's just the same area that I'm watching. Day trend here has been moving up, looking for a pullback to, this is monthly support from the monthly chart at 86.99 and 62% area at 86.78. So we're having a bit of a corrective move back down. Can we find support here for the next leg up? All right, just monitoring that pair at the moment. All right, dollar yen. Now all these yen pairs that have been shooting up at the moment, the big question is, this is the dollar yen, obviously this is the weekly chart, that is 2022 high, 2023 high. We're at weekly resistance here after having a heavy sell-off, rallying back up. Are we going to top out here? Now, if the dollar yen tops out here, then all those other yen pairs at extreme high levels at the moment potentially could top out too. So dollar yen at the moment is back up to very extreme high levels where we've been having previously intervention from the bodge. And since it came back up to retest 150, which just trying to hold above, the 150 level. So our weekly resistance is over here at 150.15. That's pretty much where the market is at the moment. And going sideways here really on the day chart. Are we topping out or are we moving higher? All right, that is the question at the moment. And I'm not seeing a clear signal to go short yet. I have been watching it on the 4-hour chart. I did say on Tuesday I was monitoring this range. We have once already hit the 79% level and have been monitoring to see if we can come back up to that same area for another test. Whether or not it can or not, I don't know. You can see down the 4-hour, it's rather flat and sideways. So it would be nice just to see a clear break south from 150.15 at such high levels. So it would be great if, let's just go back to the day chart. Would be great if we saw a clear break. There's a bit of a support low there at 149.67. Can we see a nice break down to change this trend, this kind of sideways trend here to down? And then see some form of rally for a lower top. So it would be coming up from a lower bottom. Can we form a lower top? And then we have a clear sign of the direction for this pair. I'm not looking to be a buyer at such high levels where the market's been failing at in 2022 and 2023. I'd much prefer to just be sitting on my hands and waiting for a clear signal to sell at the moment, which I'm not seeing. All right, but I'm not, on all these yen pairs at the moment, I'm not prepared to be a buyer at such high levels. So if I can see a clear reversal, great. If I can't see that, I can just look at a different pair. All right. Just want to go back to the pound and just see what that's doing at the moment. All right. It's continuing to sell. It would not surprise me to see a clear rejection candle here today from that 62 level. What's that euro dollar doing? It's rejecting its resistance level at the moment. All right. All right. Let's have a look at gold. So I want to go to the weekly charts. The weekly trend is down, but it's very difficult gold at the moment. Go to the monthly chart, we can quite clearly see here that this area of monthly highs has been rejected. Are we getting a major reversal from that area, or is it just, a few months down from that level before we can get some support to move up? But the weekly trend here is lower top, higher bottom, lower top now to a lower bottom. So the weekly trend is down. However, this area of support is a strong area of support at 2009. So the market can't hold below there. So it's very difficult at the moment. Support's really at 2009 and resistance is up here at 2070. And we're kind of range bound, but holding to a downtrend on the weekly. So to the daily, trend on the daily is down. So we could just be simply coming back up for a rally now to the 79% level. On the day chart here, we're holding there potentially. Well, that was last week's drop from that level or price point area. This week, 3 candles are testing the 79% level. Are we going to see a reversal at that level? So it's 2030, 2031. Are we down on the daily rally? Back down to retest these areas of weekly support. If I wanted to trade gold, then I would look to see if we're going to fail intraday at 2031. So, on a 15-minute chart, there's this 2031 level. Today, does this come up? Are you going to see some form of lower top form in this area around the 2031 level? Can you see your setup to sell? We've already dropped down. We've broken that bottom, so this is a lower bottom. Are we going to come up maybe to the 62, 79% area on a rally here on the 15-minute chart to then move down today? All right, so it is the 2031 79% level, and we've got last week's high here at 2032. Is that area calling a top on this market at the moment or a move down? Okay, that's my view on gold at the moment. At a resistance area at the moment. But as well, be very careful, just to the 4-hour chart, at 2009, which is weekly support, if we start to move down. All right, so that's my thoughts on gold. All right, everybody, any final questions? I had a couple of technical issues at the beginning, but hopefully we got past those. And while you're thinking of a question, I just want to see what the Aussie yen's doing. All right, so holding at 99. If key area supports, the area broken above that watch resistance is now 98.58. Can that be support? Or are we going to see a false break? So it all depends on what side of the market you want. If you're a seller, you want to see price false break 98.58 today. That's the 2023 high. Or if you're a buyer, you want to see that hold as support as this pulls back. This would be the buy zone as long as this area can hold. All right. What's the euro dollar doing? I just want to see it on 15. Not liking that 108.76 level at the moment. XAUUSD Fed report saying yesterday, from what I can tell, it was just saying that they're not too urgent to drop interest rates, which in my mind is US dollar positive. But of course, pairs have been moving up against the US dollar at the moment. And you want me to look at the NAS? All right, as we all know, we're at all-time highs. Weekly trend is up. We've had a week down this week. S&P 500 is looking very bullish, and this potentially may be just 1 week down before further moving up at the moment. All right. I'll just leave that fib on so I know where that all-time high is. So the weekly trends, we're just having 1 week down. It would be nice, but I think, some of the data coming out from the company's reporting is quite strong. It'd be nice if this could pull back to support on the weekly chart and offer a nice dip, corrective dip, but I don't know if the market's going to do that. It's looking here at the moment, a very short-term dip. So it'd be nice if it could pull back to the 62% area of this range. That's at 16,884. You got this high over here at 16,757, I think it is. So that area would be a good area for a pullback if it could happen on the weekly, but don't know if that's happening. If we trade above, the lower top on the day chart, if we break above that lower top, we're going higher once more. So it's looking a little suggestive. There's a bit of a smaller range here where we've pulled back to the 79% level and reversed strongly yesterday. So that could well be, if we go back to the weekly, we just had a half a week down here before moving up. Maybe we're having another half a week down before moving up. And we've had a 79% pullback in this range here to continually move up. So I think we could well be breaking higher once more. It's very difficult. These stock markets are very difficult at such high levels. It'd be great if it could pull back. I said the same on the S&P 500. It would be great if it could pull back to the high that we've broken above, the all-time highs, both on the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. Can we pull back to the all-time highs, get strong support there for a continued move up for the year? All right, being a buyer at or very close to the all-time highs as price is moving up, it's very difficult for me mentally to be buying at the all-time high. I always like to be a trader at discount. On the buy side, trade at discount. If you trade into the downside, be a seller at a very high point. So we're at a very high point at the moment. So it's very difficult for me to be a buyer. But it is looking like maybe we're only having half a week down and we're continuing up. That's what it looks like. All right. Of course, we won't know that until the end of the week, but it does look very suggestive on the weekly chart that any dips at the moment on the weekly chart, half a week down here before a further 2 weeks up and then a reversal, another half a week down, maybe we're having another 2 or 3 weeks up before then another half a week down. So you're targeting 1820. Well, at the moment, this range here, then obviously we've broken above that high. The 127 extension of this range is at 18,479. So that would be a potential pressure point. So this major range here, that could be a potential pressure point for the market, but it's in a clear uptrend. It's just, we're of course at the highs. So it's very difficult if you're not already in. Where to take profit? Well, this could keep going up all year, but using a bit of fib work here, 18,479, so 18,500 could be a bit of a pressure point for the market. There's definitely a fib level there that the market could react at. All right, so that's my thoughts on the Nasdaq at the moment. All right, everybody. Just to give you a heads up, next week from me, webinars. I can get my page to refresh. All right, my page doesn't want to refresh, but my next webinar is next Tuesday. More analysis next Tuesday, that's 8 p.m. Sydney time. Just come over to the webinar page. Here's a link up here. And register your interest if you want to join me. Next Wednesday, from an education point of view, I'll be going through trend. And then more analysis again on Thursday. All right, so all my webinars at the moment are starting at 8 p.m. Sydney time if you want to join me. Okay then, thanks everybody. Hopefully you got some levels there to work with. It's a little bit difficult at the moment as a lot of the pairs are at the tops of their moves, but wait for a pullback on the very bullish pairs, especially those yen pairs, for maybe another move up. All right, have a great trading day. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks everybody.